I see you've been traveling. You either have the flu or COVID. I'm sending you a prescription for Tamiflu. Thanks. Bye.
Level up your email domain security and deliverability. Reduce business email compromise and reel in that pesky email phishing. Make DMARC a new revenue stream for your MSP. Becoming a managed service provider partner with EasyDMARC is a great opportunity for your business to boost sales and decrease risk. Your customers need DMARC. Your job is to let them know that their email domain might be at risk. Find out more today at atmsp.link/EasyDMARC. That's atmsp.link/EasyDMARC. Operating an MSP sucks. Gozinta is here to make it suck less. With their consulting services, they are your trusted advisors through every step of your MSP's journey, from startup to exit. And their software is crafted with care to ensure that they're solving problems for you and not creating new headaches. Find out more at atmsp.link/Gozinta. That's atmsp.link/Gozinta.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to All Things MSP. I'm your host, Justin Esgar, and with me always, getting done with his stint as Mall Santa, it's Eric Anthony.
Well, and I think the beard's probably going to go away in the next month or so.
Best joke I heard this year over Christmas was like, it was literally December 26th, and people were like, guys, Christmas isn't here. Take your stuff down. Real quick, just to cover that cold opening. We were off for vacation for a while. I got home from vacation and then I got sick. And so I booked a virtual doctor's appointment. I'd never done one before. And even before I said the word hi, the doctor came on. He's like, I see you went traveling. You either have the flu or COVID. Take this, bye. And I was like, what? Turns out doctor was wrong. I had a cold.
So, what do you think they get paid for a visit like that?
I mean, they got to be paid based on the number of patients they're seeing, right? Like, it was free for me through our health insurance, which was great. And the Tamiflu showed up the next day free for me as well. But that guy must just, and it was a Sunday also, but I mean, he must just churn through appointments, less than 5 minutes. If you're getting paid even $100 a visit, and you do it in 5 minutes, that's $1,200 an hour. That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's also a good example that if you're not the one paying for it, you are not going to get good service.
Yeah, that's true. So I apologize to the listeners if you hear a little sniffle in our record today. I will do my best not to just expunge onto my microphone. I've also spent this past week home alone because my wife was at CES. So on top of being sick, I was taking care of my kids going back to school that they didn't want to do. But that's cool. Welcome to 2026. This is what really gets me, is that it's the beginning of the year. It's 2026. I have yet to make that 5 turn into a 6 when I'm writing it down. And you want to kick off the year great. You're like, I'm gonna crush this year. 2026 is gonna be my year, man. And then I womp womp. I'm in bed,
Yeah, and I mean, this is interesting you bring that up, because this is one of the first years that I can remember where I haven't been typing the previous year or writing the previous year or writing December instead of January.
Mystical,
in
magical,
the longest
maybe?
time.
There must be something in the air. It's the flu.
Or maybe 2026 I'm just looking so forward to, because 2025 was, such a disaster. But
that's
anyway.
Also possibly true. So being that it's the beginning of the year, what better way to start the year off than with some New Year's resolutions? Cue the music.
I'll insert some kind of music here.
back from the music. Everybody does New Year's resolutions, and I can guarantee you that I'm gonna use my mystic mind powers to reach out to you, the audience members. Your New Year's resolution is go to the gym more often. Be nicer to people, right? These are not the resolutions I'm talking about. These are not the resolutions you're looking for.
So my New Year's resolution for January and probably February is to not go to the gym because that's when everybody else is.
Yeah. Don't get a gym membership today. Your resolution to start March. My resolution, we just finished building this gorgeous gym. My resolution is to go in there, but then I got sick. That's actually not my resolution. My resolution for once in my entire life is not health focused, which is weird because every year my resolution is always like, I'm going to get healthy. And every year I'm like, nah, I like chocolate.
Oh yeah. So my resolution, I guess it's still kind of health related because it's probably more mental health related. Um, my biggest probably resolution or habit that I'm trying to form that is a New Year's thing is I'm actually writing down affirmations
Nice.
every night before I go to bed and then reading them in the morning when I get up.
That's gorgeous.
Because I read something where, obviously your self-talk matters. You're going to think about the things that you talk about to yourself.
Yeah.
And so if you write these things down in the evening, right before you go to bed, they're going to be the last thing you think about before you go to bed. So your brain is going to, mix all that up and stew on it overnight.
Yeah.
And then you reinforce it by rereading them in the morning if there are things that, you want to change.
My affirmations would always be like, I did lock the front door. And then I wake up in the morning and I go, good job.
Automation.
Michelle is vehemently against me getting another automated front door. But and this is all good. I do love what you're saying, but this isn't where I want to, this isn't really what I want, because resolutions like that are great. You want to build them into habits. You want to do things. I like that. I want to talk about professional resolutions because I think a lot of the time, we use the new year as this random excuse to just be better, right? New year, new you. And then come February 14th, you're like, crap, I forgot to buy flowers for my spouse. Oh, I guess it's old me again. And just kind of turn back into a mushy, mucky pile. What I like is instead of, I always have like that BHAG goal, that big, hairy, audacious goal one, right? And my resolution has always been like, get that thing. And there's a reason it's a BHAG. I ain't going to get it. But if you can make resolutions that are smaller, yours is perfect, right? Because it's a small task to do. If you can make resolutions that are smaller and set yourself up for success throughout the rest of the year, right? It's one thing to say like 2026, man, we're going to be awesome. We're coming back hard. We're going to nail 17 clients a month and close, $45,000 million in deals. Shut the F up. Like, your resolution should be like, I'm going to put out a piece of content every month, right? This is that time where, you've been saying it to yourself over and over again for the last couple of years. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. But now is the time to act on it because there's no better time than the present. And New Year's is that fresh start for everybody. Everybody kind of is weirdly okay with taking 2 weeks off of work at the end of the year to come back and be like, hey, what are you doing now? And you're like, I do content. And they're like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, you could totally do that. By the way, I saw the greatest meme that was getting passed around. And I sent this to everybody. And it literally was like, oh God, everybody is circling back. But yeah, set these resolutions. So my resolution for this year, both professionally and personally, because I'm trying to, it's hard as the owner not to break. There is no division of power there. My personal professional resolution this year is to be less in the day-to-day of stuff happening at Virtua. Meaning, I shouldn't be the one answering tier 1 tickets, or clients shouldn't be coming directly to me for help. I should be forcing them to follow the procedures I have in place and letting my team deal with them, because most of the time, 99% of the time, my team can handle whatever it is they're asking me. Granted, I can handle it also, but like I shouldn't be. My time as the owner, as the visionary, if you want to look at it from an EOS perspective, is better spent doing other things for the business. Not other things general, like my time is better spent watching Netflix. No, my time is better spent working on things on the business. That's why this cold this week really threw me for a loop, because like, Eric, you know me well enough. Like, I love coming up with new ideas. Like, I'm always like brewing new ideas, right? And while I was on vacation, when I was ignoring my kids, I would like chat GPT, like, I got this great idea. What should I do with it? And it was like, that's a wonderful idea, Justin. I support you all the way. And then gave me like a bunch of stuff to work with. And as soon as I came home and I got the cold, I was like, I can't even find the icon for ChatGPT. Like, it was that level of bad. It was like a weird void. I was like outside myself. But working on those new ideas, I already have like 4 or 5 new ideas that I've talked to my team about, and they love all the ideas. Not that I want to stack on tons and tons of work, but like I can't even work on those ideas or the ideation of those ideas if I'm being like, no, it's the blue wire. No, the other blue wire. Yeah, unplug that. You know?
Yeah, that doesn't work. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to unpack in what you just talked about. And one of the things that I do think is great about this time of year that you mentioned is it is a great time to pivot. You know, if you are either doing something that is not productive, like you just talked about, with where you as the owner are spending your time. In fact, there's a great tool for that, and I don't remember the specifics of it, but there's a way for you to go through and kind of track what you're doing every day. I think it's called interstitial journaling. And you kind of track what you do, and then you put a dollar amount to the value of what you did. And you see how many tasks you are doing that are below the level of value that you should be bringing to the business. And you should find ways to offload those things. So that's just one of those things in terms of pivoting and kind of figuring out where you are. And then, you know, just making sure that you are doing the right things and not doing the wrong things, I guess is the way I wanted to say that, is, you know, kind of doing a self-audit of what you are doing in the business and what you aren't doing that you should be doing to bring that proper value.
I'll call the kettle black because I really like the idea of going through and auditing what you do to figure out the value of everything. And I'm calling the kettle black because I've never done this like in a proper manner. I've done it kind of like on a whim or in my head or whatever it is. And I think I'm at a point just in my life or entrepreneurially that I can probably just do it on the fly. I don't need to do the write down, where I think a lot of people still need to do the write down, right? And so it comes up often a lot. Like, actually, this is on par with this, is that like we just got an email from some random person who's like, I'm 30 minutes away from you and I want you to come to my house and I want you to help me clean up my computer. And I was like, well, number one, we don't do that, but whatever. But I was like, we can do it remotely and it's $250 an hour. And they were like, oh, that's a lot of money. And I was like, nah, that's what I get paid for, right? Because that's my value. At the same time, my mom sends me an email that we returned all of our Xfinity equipment in Boca like a couple months ago, and she got a bill for $50 that they auto-deducted from her credit card for something that was missing. And she's like, can you deal with this? And I was like, no. And she's like, why? I'm like, because the amount of time I'm going to spend on Xfinity getting your $50 back, I could have spent doing something else because I'm going to be on hold for 2 hours for $500. Right. I was like, don't get me wrong. I love you. You can do this because you're retired, or you can just give up $50 because it's Xfinity. They're never going to call you again. My time value, right, is worth more than the $50. I legit said this to her. She wasn't happy with that answer.
Well, right.
Because it's my mom.
But you're not wrong.
But I'm not wrong. That's the problem.
I'm like, Mom, where can I Zelle you $50?
You know what, Eric? You can Zelle my mom $50 and make her happy. Be my guest. But setting those parameters. I do like setting those parameters. I think let's take another step with that one. And that is, if you really want to set yourself as a goal this year to grow your business, you can't be working in your business. We've mentioned this a lot. Work on your business, not in your business. So how do you do that? Dan Martell, right? Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time.
Mm-hmm. Great book.
Great book. Spend your goal for January, your resolution is to buy back your time. So set yourself these micro steps to do. January is anytime that you get pulled into something, have another person on your team or have some sort of recording system in place, record what it is, have someone on the team make an SOP and say, next time this comes in, don't ask me. You know, we all, as MSPs, our goal is grow our business. If you're not trying to grow your business, you're failing, and you probably aren't listening to the show in the first place. If you are legitimately trying to grow your business, you need to set these kinds of goals. And everybody's goal, I'm sure, is I want to be, the king of Prussia when it comes to MSPs. Does Prussia still exist? I don't know. Whatever. You know what I mean? So,
well, there is a king of Prussia in, I think it's Pennsylvania.
Yeah. It's a town, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I was talking about.
I know. Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's a BHAG, right? Me wanting my private jet that we've talked about before on the show is a BHAG. I'm not getting that in 2026. I'm not getting that in 2027. But
honestly, I think that goal is more achievable than you getting the Virtua Blue network cables.
That's the saddest fact ever, but true. P.S. If anyone knows someone who could just do custom-made subliminal dye Ethernet cables, please email me. That said, though, I'm not setting my goal for 2026 to get the jet. I'm setting my goal for 2026 to focus more on marketing or focus more on sales or focus, not specific numbers also, because numbers, if you don't hit the number, imposter syndrome comes in. I'm going to close 12 new deals a month. You're not. And as soon as you don't 1 month, you're going to feel like shit. But if you say, I'm going to make my resolution, I'm going to focus more on sales and I'm going to focus more on the steps needed to make sales, which means being at more events, building out your list, building out that drip campaign in MailChimp, coming up with a new product for your clients, building out a thing that you can do for your clients that you know damn well none of the other MSPs are doing because it's never been said at a Robin Robbins event ever before. Like, can you set those kinds of goals and do those things to move your business forward? So you're giggling a lot at me, but I'm right. I'm right.
So you're right in the prescriptive of what you're doing, right? And I think this is literally just a difference in personalities, okay? Because the end goal is exactly what you said. You've got to find those things and those goals that you should have, that you should make into habits, maybe let's call it, is doing those things that are going to drive the business forward.
Mm-hmm.
However, my engineering, analytical, crazy, messed up mind goes, but I got to know what those numbers are that I'm trying to achieve so I can back into what the activities are that I need to do to get done. So we're getting to the same place. We're just doing it two different ways.
Yeah. And your way is totally fine for people with beards. So no, your way is totally fine. There are people who are more analytical like that. But what I'm saying is, like, don't set a goal of I'm going to close 12 new clients this month. Set a goal of I'm going to achieve the ability to close 12 customers this month. There's a difference in that mentality.
There is. And I think it comes down to personality, because you are coming up with this from one direction, right? Whereas I'm coming at it from the method of I have to do this to get that. It's almost I require this level of accountability, whereas you are looking at
I'm still looking at
how
that.
to describe it.
But I'm still looking at the if I want to close 12, how do I get there? I'm looking at the same thing. My reasoning for not setting a hard number is I don't want people to set a hard number and then not hit it despite having built all these pieces out like you want to do, and then feel bad that they didn't hit the number.
Correct. But I think here's the difference is some people will feel bad for not hitting the number. Some people will see it as a challenge.
Sure.
And so I think that's where the personality difference
that's fair. That's
comes
fair,
into play.
Right? The goal, though, really being is building the pieces that are necessary to get to that number, whether you set that as a hard number or not.
Yep. And figuring out how much of that activity it takes to get to closing one new client a month, right? Which is something you're not going to know right off the bat.
Yeah. I'm making a big push on this idea of doing things differently. I think, and we've mentioned this before, right? MSPs at this point, you're a commodity. You're pricing to the bottom. So set yourself a goal this year to figure out what, and I'm not saying that this is the goal, but I'm saying set yourself a goal in this realm around differentiation, whether that's in your niche or a product that you can offer to your customers that no other MSP is offering, or a new tool that will revolutionize how whatever, like what can you do differently? Because like an MS, if you looked at all the MSPs, because I do this with the Apple consultants also, right? You look at us all on paper, it's like, okay, company A, B, C, D, E, F. Well, we all take care of Macs, and we all take care of customers that are 10 to 50, and we all take care of customers that are in graphic design. Where's the differentiation, right? And you can't say, well, we do compliance. Everybody's doing compliance now. Well, we do security. Everybody's doing security now. Well, we sell a whole unique package with white glove. Guess what? So does everybody. So what can you do that's different from a marketing standpoint or from a customer service standpoint or an unreasonable hospitality standpoint that will really make you stand out, so that way when a customer wants to engage with you, they're already ready to buy based on the fact that you have reviews from other people being like, oh my God, this company did all these things and then they gave us this thingamabob that really like locked and loaded and made us feel secure and safe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, you brought up a great point that I was already thinking towards, and I didn't remember the name of the book, but you reminded me. It's the Unreasonable Hospitality book.
It's on my shelf somewhere.
At the end of the day, MSPs are a service business, and the biggest differentiator that you can create with your clients is the experience your client has with you, the way you deliver your services. And, that's a great book. And we've talked about it on the podcast before about going above and beyond and doing these things that create this great experience is one of those things that will cause differentiation along with all the other things that you just mentioned.
Yeah. And there's plenty more that you can do to build out your business that way. I think that every business owner, wants to unreasonably like 2x their gross every year. Like I've heard people come and be like, nah, this is the year, man. 10x. We're 10xing. I'm like, how long you been in business? 20 years. How long did it take you to get to where you are now? 20 years. How long do you think it's going to take you to 10x? 1 year. Here's the sack of potatoes. Like, what are you talking about?
So I love 10X by Grant Cardone, right?
I do too.
But it's a mindset, not an actual thing.
It's a love-hate with it, that guy. Did you see him on Undercover Billionaires, by the way?
I know, and I do want to watch it, and I just never have.
Season 2, he was on Undercover Billionaires, and he took some like small podunk town in Colorado and created like a social media company there. that clearly, like, if you know anything about business, was like maybe a $400,000 company at best. And they were like, no, we evaluated you at $6.5 million. He was like, yeah. And we were like, Michelle and I are watching this going like, there's no effing way that this guy's company is worth $6.5 million there. But yeah, the 10x mentality. I love the 10x mentality for goal setting because, and again, this goes back to the hard number thing. I like the 10x mentality because if I don't 10x, but I 5x, win. Yes. I don't get mad that I didn't 10x. But if I set myself a goal to make $1 million and I only make $500,000, I'm like, I messed up. It's weird. It's weird when you have a hard number like that. 10x just has the variable built in.
Yep.
So
okay, so enough about Grant Cardone. Although I do absolutely recommend you read his books. They are good. So we've talked about, kind of some of the wishy-washy things about goal setting. What about when it comes down to actually setting certain goals within your business? I mean, they're the common ones, right? You've mentioned revenue. You've mentioned closing X number of new clients per month, whatever it is. What are some of the underlying maybe health metrics that these MSPs need to be setting in terms of goals for this year?
I think that MSPs, one thing that I find that MSPs do a lot is we don't eat enough of our own dog food. And so we're all real big on, making sure our clients have 2FA on or MFA on, and then like not doing it ourselves. If you want to talk about a health metric, like the first thing that came to my mind, and this really only just because I just got off a call with somebody about this, is like, look at your Microsoft security score and how it compares to others. Now, my Microsoft security score sucks. I looked at it earlier, and especially compared to others. But the truth of the matter is, we're not a Microsoft shop, so I don't really care as much. But for most MSPs that are like, Microsoft is the only business email that ever existed, you should go. Hold on, I'm going to anecdote for a second. I just found out over the weekend. Remember when Bill Gates got arrested in 1978 for driving without a license?
Vaguely.
There's like a famous mugshot of Bill Gates holding like jail numbers. Do you know that that's the silhouette of a user in Outlook 2010? Like if you don't have a user picture, that blue outline is him. Okay. Anyway,
that's hilarious.
Be the shining light for your customers. Don't just tell customers what they have to do. You have to do it yourself, because we always talk about like you win as a team, right? It's never an I game. If you're in the trenches with your customer trying to fix your own vulnerability management, to enhance your Microsoft security score, to lower your Ignite risk score in secure and governance, to enhance your cyber positioning with your insurance company, to get SOC 2 compliant or NIST compliant or CMMC compliant. Get in the trenches. And like, yeah, dude, it's work. It sucks. I get it. And you're not getting paid for that, right? Because again, what's your value? However, the way I look at it is, if you can do that, you can increase your value on the other side, right? So Virtua has been trying to get SOC 2 compliant for a while now. We've been engaged with some software. We've done all the work. We just never did the audit. And because we never did the audit, some of the work we did kind of declined and we have to like redo it. And I set a goal for my team. We're getting audited by April. Period. No, full stop. So that means my team has now, we're recording mid-January, 2.5 months to fix all the problems in our Vanta, which is where we're using for SOC 2 compliance, and then get the auditor. And we've put money away in the bank for it. Build ourselves up because we want that SOC 2 so we can tell people about SOC 2. So that's one. The other one I want to talk about for healthiness is financially. I've recently re-engaged in the mentality of profit first. And if you don't know, Profit First by Mike McCallowitz, great book. I'll sum it up really easily. All income gets divvied up into little envelopes. And so you put 3% of every income into one account called profit. You put 2% of every piece of income into another folder called taxes. And you take 1% of every income and you put it in one called fun or whatever. You don't even have to do the third one, to be honest. You use that money that you're saving, taxes is obviously for taxes, but use that profit savings one to help buy things to enhance your business. And they don't have to be physical things. I don't mean buying new computers for your team or having a pizza party. That money can go towards treasure chesting for a new employee. That money, if you have enough of it, talk to a financial advisor about investing in other assets. That's a Grant Cardone move, by the way. Having your business invest in other assets, not real estate though. Like quick assets. Companies can put money in the stock market. Like a company can own another company, I found out. Put that money into marketing. Put that money into getting the auditor for your SOC 2 compliance, right? But so my New Year's resolution around that financially, because I only restarted that maybe in November, and we've done really well with it, is to really push the envelope, no pun intended, on how much can I extrude from every income droplet and still be able to pay credit cards and payroll and have a healthy checking account without it negatively affecting the team, right? Because then that means I'm pulling too much out. So that's a habit building one that I'm working on. But the goal being that I want to build up a treasure chest so I can hire a new tier 2, tier 3 programmer, marketing person, salesperson, what have you.
Right.
So I think there's a financial health one, and then there's the whatever I said the first one was.
Yeah, and well, the first one was all about security, cybersecurity.
Oh yeah.
And IT readiness, compliance readiness, I would say. I agree with the finance piece as well, and profit obviously is the first and probably most important piece of the health and vitality of the business, right? Because without profit, you have nothing to reinvest to grow.
Right.
The other number that I like looking at when it comes to the health of a business is revenue per employee. And, I've heard numbers like $500,000 per employee. And, that doesn't seem too far off the mark, right? If you have 2 full-time employees, you should be doing about $1 million. If you have 3, it's 1.5, right? Those are probably not far off. That probably is closer to best in class.
I think $500,000 per employee is too high. I've heard even $250,000 per employee, and I was like, you're nuts.
But I think that there are a lot of people doing it, though. I shouldn't say a lot. That was exaggeration.
No. But I want to quantify, because I think this is where I get weird about that particular note. I have no problem with what you're saying. I think what you're saying makes sense, and I agree with it to a point. My problem is that, like, I've always had the argument that, like, Lauren on my team doesn't do any technical work. She's the president, so she's in charge of like HR and finance. She's not generating income. So for me to like hold $250,000 or even $500,000 per employee against someone who's not generating income is an unfair move, because she's not part of the other side of that equation. It doesn't equal on both sides of the equal sign. You know what I mean?
Right. But I guess the way I look at it is you are looking too far into detail when you take it to that level.
Shocker.
When I was an MSP, I remember, we had 3 employees and we were doing $750,000 a year.
Yeah.
And, that is that 250,000 number that you were talking about. So I think that number is completely doable. And that included one person who, was 0 revenue generating.
Okay. That's fair.
So, I think it's a range, obviously, and the higher it is, the better it is. And I think it all depends on a lot of other factors in your business, but it is a good barometer, right?
Yeah.
Because it can also give you an indication of, oh, it may be time to hire another person.
Right. I think the other play, just for the nuance component of it, is the type of customers you have, because I find that the $250,000, $500,000 works really, really well on the PC side, and for whatever reason, I just because I know the numbers of a lot of the Apple guys, I can't. That number doesn't translate over to Mac side for some odd ass reason.
Well, and it may not, because that situation is uniquely different.
Like, we are higher per unit, but less units. And yet still not hitting that 250 per, which is like, there's something in the ecosystem that I'm not understanding, some weird variable that's in there that's causing that shift. But yeah, I mean, set yourself a goal as a business owner to get to $250,000 per user. That's an excellent goal, because if you have 5 people, your goal is 1.25, and you're at, let's say, 750, let's just make some easy numbers here, right? You need $500,000 of new business, but you also can use that to gauge how busy your staff actually is, and use that as the fuel to push yourself to do more marketing, right? Like, there's a lot of different ways to do it. So it's not like when you set a goal or a resolution for the year, it's linearly just that one thing, right? Get healthy is not a linear one thing move. It's eat better, work out more, get more sleep, drink more water, drink even more water, sleep even more. Maybe don't eat dessert that day. Make better decisions, things like that. These are up and downs on this line that you're trying to get through. So in the idea of like, build a better business for 2026, that's your line, but it's going to be secure my finances, do some profit first, do some marketing, figure out my price per employee, maybe, get a little more niche. There's a lot you can do here. I'm going to end with this. Whatever you do, set yourself up as a goal. As long as it's not some crazy BHAG, it's something that you can break down. Break down all the pieces. And if you need help with any of these pieces, facebook.com/group/all things MSP is the place to go to ask for help. Come there. Guys, Eric and I have been doing this. We're going on this is our 4th year. We're going on our 4th year. I think we've kind of established ourselves as understanding a good amount of this stuff, if not more. Ask for help. Facebook.com/group/all things. I'm not joking here, right? All of us want to grow our business. All of us want to be doing $10 million if you're not already. How do you get there? By asking for help. So keep that in mind, that you can always ask Eric or myself, ask the group, hey, this is my BHAG, these are my steps. I'm stuck on X. What are you guys doing for marketing? What are you doing for sales? How do you close this one thing? How do I buy another business? What should I invest in? How should I grow my assets? Is Justin a real person or a robot? Ask these questions.
Depends on the day.
It depends on the minute at this point. But we're here for you to help. And we want to make 2026 a massive, successful year for all of you. We want you, the All Things MSP community, to walk around as ambassadors to the entire MSP community, to say, look what I've done with my business. Look how well I've grown. Look how well I stand on my 2 feet. And guess what? My business is at home, rocking and rolling, and I'm out here, at some event because I can.
Any event.
That's what I wanted to say.
Awesome. I would just follow up with probably one thing that really is more of a tactical, will help you with all of these things that you're trying to set for 2026. And you already mentioned Dan Martell and Buy Back Your Time. Great book. But he also has this concept of creating a scorecard for your business, and just game changer for any business. Now, one of the traps, and I'll just go ahead and tell you about this in advance, that you can get into if you're trying to keep a scorecard for your business, is not delegating populating that scorecard to other people who actually own the responsibility of those numbers. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you, the owner, are the only one having to collect these numbers and look at them, it doesn't do the whole company good. You need everybody involved who's responsible for those numbers. That's all I got.
That's all you got. Cool. All right. Well, then that's it. So if you enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, ring the bell, check us out, facebook.com/group/allthingsmsp. High def glory in my new dark, cool office. Almost finished. Got to get some lights in there. youtube.com/@allthingsmsp. We're all on favorite podcasting tools, but you're listening to us right now in your car. That's it. That's all it is. That's Mall Santa. I'm Justin. Bye.
Thank you for listening or watching the All Things MSP podcast. If you liked this episode, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, and consider subscribing to catch all our weekly episodes. And from your host extraordinaire, Justin Esgar, and myself, Eric Anthony, your humble producer and All Things MSP founder, thank you very much for spending your time with us. If you are not aware, All Things MSP started as a Facebook group and now supports over 6,000 members. We also have a LinkedIn page for those of you who don't do Facebook, and make sure to check out our YouTube channel for even more content. And a big thank you to our premier sponsors, Easy DMark, Helped, Goes Into, MoveBot, and Nodeware. And thank you to the rest of our sponsors. Without sponsors, we could not do what we do for the MSP community. Please consider checking them out. The All Things MSP podcast is a BizPow LLC production. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of any employer, vendor, sponsor, or random taxi driver in the Metro DC area. Be sure to join us next week for another exciting episode.